Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. शेर नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 81, Chapter entitled The Lord Blesses Sudama Brahmana, text number 25. Bhatim agatam akarnya patni uddharshati sambrama निष्क्रामग्रहात्तूर्णम् रूपिणी श्रीरिवालयात् पतिमागतमाकर्ण्य पत्नी उद्धर्षाति संभ्रम निश्चक्रामग्रहात्तूर्णम् रूपिणी श्रीरिवालयात् पतिमागतमाकर्ण्य पत्नी उद्धर्षाति संभ्रम निश्चक्राम ग्रहात्तूर्णम् रूपिणी श्रीरिवालयात्। Word to word meaning. Patim, her husband. Agatam, come. Akarnya, hearing. Patni, his wife. Uddharsha, jubilant. Ati, extremely. Sambhrama, excited. Nishikrama, she came out. Grahat, from the house. Turnam, quickly. Rupini, manifesting her personal form. Shri, the goddess of fortune. Iva, as if. Alayat, from her abode. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. Translation. When she heard that her husband had arrived, the Brahmana's wife quickly came out of the house in jubilant flurry. She resembled the goddess of fortune herself emerging from her divine abode. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami points out that since Lord Krishna had turned Sudama's home into heavenly abode, everyone living there now possessed beautiful bodies and attire appropriate to the residents of heaven. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds this insight. The night before, Sudama's poor emaciated wife had been sleeping in rags under a crumbling roof. But when she woke up in the morning, she found herself and her house wonderfully changed. Only for a moment was she confused. She then realized that this opulence was the Lord's gift to her husband, who must be on his way home. Thus she prepared to greet him. Chant prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Stam Sajivam Sa Advaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarane Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratushe Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamham bande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. I humbly seek blessings of all the assembled devotees here, especially Prem Sarup Prabhu, Shri Nitya Prabhu, that we may be able to speak on this beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam for purification of our heart, for the glorification of the Lord, as a humble service to all devotees and for benefit of everyone. So in this very extraordinary pastime, which is very famous, uh, very famous all over the world, even among those who are not very serious about Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, even they very much relish this pastime. But unless we hear this pastime from the devotees, and we properly read Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand the explanation, what's happening in this Leela, we may not get the real essence of this pastime. This pastime is helping us understand what Lord values and what the devotees of the Lord actually values. Lord values service to devotees, pleasure of devotees. Lord values devotion. And the devotees, for them, there is only one value, that is pleasure of the Lord. Whatever pleases the Lord. Whatever purifies our heart so that we can become a better offering to the Lord. This pastime is telling, is uh, is also explaining the very heart of Krishna. His extraordinary humility, his love, his extraordinary mercy, which is shown in this pastime on Sudama Brahmana. And what is that mercy? That's a hidden secret. The very last verse of this this chapter says that Lord always shows Brahmanas special favor. Anyone who hears this account of the Supreme Lord's kindness to Brahmanas will come to develop love for the Lord and thus become freed from the bondage of material work. Etad brahmanya devasya shrutva brahmanyatam nara labdhva bhavo bhagavati karma bandhat vimuchyate. This is the Falishruti of this pastime. And this Falishruti says that someone who understands how Krishna favored the Brahmana. But what was the favor? That is a secret. That can be easily misunderstood. Right? The Lord's favor, so Lord's value system is very, very deeply explained here, and devotees' value system. So that's why it is very necessary that as we do Shravanam, the hearing, Shravanam should actually should help us develop the real value system which Krishna and his devotees have in their heart. The scriptures are constantly, actually challenging our own value systems which we have created, cultivated in the material world because of so many material association. Each and every one of us have certain value systems, and that is all based on association of different modes or based on different kind of association. different kind of association. And that's how we develop our own uh, subtle body, and ultimately we develop our own value system. This is what we prioritize in our life. So when we read scriptures, when we study the pastimes very deeply, when we do Shravanam, uh, that challenges our value system. That's the real Shravanam. It's not mechanical. It challenges. Oh, I was I was valuing wealth, and here Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying na dhanam. The prayer is I do not want wealth. So it challenges. That wealth is not so important. Just like this verse itself is sharing the whole value system. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadish kamaye. It challenges. The whole material civilization is like, this is what is most important. Dhanam, janam, sundarim, this is what people are working hard for. Right? And if not this, at least liberation. But mama janmani shore. Right? So there's that not even I want liberation. Let me take birth again and again, in this material world. You know. It's not even talking of going back to Godhead. So it challenges our value system. Then what do you value? Bhavatad bhakti rahetu ki tvai. So what is not valuable and what is valuable for a devotee? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. This is a value system of a devotee. In this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. So it's very important that as we hear, as we do Shravanam, we read scriptures, we dive deep and try to see what is being valued, what is of value for Krishna. When we are becoming Krishna conscious, it is so very important to understand the values of Krishna. Right? That is meaning of Krishna conscious. I was just thinking that if someone is a part of let's say a company, he's joining a company and he's working there. So he has to understand the value system of the company to be able to actually become a proper employee there. Right? Similarly, here we are trying to join Krishna's company in the spiritual world. Right? So, and his movement is just a part of the spiritual world only. Right? This whole Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, which is going on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Leela is going on right now. So, unless we understand the value system of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Krishna, of his devotees, uh, we may not become a proper servant. So, let us try to understand the values, and through this pastime, we'll dive deep into this whole subject matter, especially and including today's verse. So what Krishna don't value? First, we'll begin with that. So we'll try to understand like this: what Krishna don't value, what Krishna values, and how much he values what he values, and why he values what he values. Okay, and then we'll try to see what devotees don't value, what devotees value, and how much they value. So we'll try to understand, and through this pastime, we'll dive deep into it. So first of all, what Krishna don't value is revealed very beautifully by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam when he is offering prayer to Narasimhadev. And he tells very clearly what all things he don't value. And then finally he says, the last part of the verse, what he values. The 7.9.9 prayers to Narasimhadev. Manne dhanabhijana rupa tapah shruta jas teja prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yoga नाराधनाय हि भवन्ति परस्य पुंसो भक्त्या तुतोष भगवान गजयूथपाया. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling these are the things Krishna don't value. What is that? One may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic yogic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, hence, Krishna doesn't value this, and hence, a devotee of the Lord whose only goal is Krishna's pleasure, does not waste his time in these in working in this direction, because whatever we value, that's what our activities will be. Very simple, right? So while value system is important because our actions are going to be based on that, our priorities in life will be based on that. We'll prioritize and deprioritize based on what we value, what we don't value, right? And hence, here we can see Krishna's value system is that he don't value, and that's why a devotee doesn't work uh, on these directions. Wealth, aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength. So this is very important. So then what Krishna values? Prahlad Maharaj in the same verse is answering. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. So even someone in animal species, if he offers, he may not have any of these things, right? But if he offers something, uh, if he offers anything with devotion, with bhakti, bhaktya tutosha bhagavan, kaja yotapaya. Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse, short and beautiful. Prabhupada says, no kind of material qualification is the means for satisfying the Supreme Personality of God. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can the Lord be known. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Unless the Lord is pleased by the service of a devotee, the Lord does not reveal himself. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrita. This is the verdict of all Shastras. Neither by speculation nor by material qualifications can one understand or approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in that way, uh, we can understand that it is only bhakti, devotional service, you know, uh, and when Krishna is pleased by that kind of intense devotional service, Krishna reveals. So, what Krishna values is bhakti. And we can see the example, some few examples. Obviously, the current pastime is the epitome of the example, but some more examples. You can see about Vidurani. We were hearing maybe some time back from His Holiness Radharaman Maharaj about Vidurani's intense offering to Krishna, that she was just in haste, she just you know tried to peel the bananas and gave the peels, and Krishna was happily eating, because Krishna values devotion and he doesn't value a big offering. Duryodhan ko bhog na khayo, right? So he was not at all interested in the big offering, but only devotion. In Dwarka, this pastime we are in Dwarka. In Dwarka also you find that what Krishna values. If we hear from Sri Brihad Bhagavatamritam, there we find that in Dwarka what Krishna is valuing. Now Krishna is surrounded with so much of opulence, such big palaces, such luxurious food items, and such wonderful queens he has. But we find that the conversation among the queens, they are saying that Krishna, sometimes he catches my sari, and Krishna says, Maya, give me butter. Right? And in that way, Krishna is remembering Vrindavan. For him, so much opulence is there, but for him, that devotion of Mother Yashoda is very simple, humble devotion of Mother Yashoda is so enchanting that nothing else can attract him. So, what Krishna values is very extraordinary to understand. And that's why you find that how Rukmini gets attracted to the child form of Krishna, and she requested the deity form of Krishna, which is now called as Udupi Krishna, right? Because this is what Krishna is relishing, and this is the whole Dwarka Leela, actually the essence, where Krishna is simply glorifying Vrindavan. Right? Dwarka Leela is all about glorification of Vrindavan. Krishna is just eager to go back to Vrindavan, but he is not going because he is unable to repay for the devotion. And that is the next point. that how much Krishna values this devotion, this love, unconditional, unmotivated bhakti. How much Krishna values. Of Brajavasis, we see that Krishna is saying that na pare ham. So much he values that he feels, how can I ever repay? Right? And here, in this pastime, also we are seeing the same situation of Krishna. Krishna is values the devotion so much that he becomes completely obliged and he don't find a means to repay for the debt he incurs by receiving a devotion of a devotee. Right? So here we are finding that Sudama Brahmana who has arrived, and there is a very intimate exchange going on a subtle level between Sudama Brahmana and Krishna. Right? You know. जय श्री श्री निताई गौरंग भगवान की जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय you know and based on these pastimes we can see that how much Krishna values devotion. So we find that Sudama Brahmana feeling great ecstasy in his heart that I am getting opportunity to meet Krishna. So with that we can understand that how Sudama Brahmana is not going to Krishna to get any wealth. He is going to Krishna simply an opportunity to see Krishna, to please Krishna, right? And that's why a devotee only values whatever pleases Krishna. He has no selfish desires, no selfish values, and and then we find he thought that let me take something for Krishna, and whatever best he could do with his sincere, simple heart, he took the broken pieces of rice, flat rice translated as tandulaka. So he took some little bit of that offering, and uh, Krishna is so eager for that offering that he literally, you know, stole from Sudama that offering, and he started to eat. And eating that offering and relishing that offering was so sweet. What he was relishing is devotion, because that's what Krishna values. Krishna doesn't value the kind of item, it's the devotion. And obviously, for a devotion, that should also a caution for us. We should understand that when we say Krishna values devotion and not the item, doesn't mean that we can offer anything to Krishna. Based on one's capability, the devotion can be expressed in any amount of opulence we offer to Krishna. Right? So someone who has capability, he can express his devotion by offering the best of the food items to Krishna. Right? So like that. And but the point is that someone who has no capability, Krishna is even ready to accept in the mind. Just like we see that South India Brahmana of uh, Pratisthanapur, right, who was meditating in the mind, and he made a wonderful kheer, within his mind, and he offered that also to Krishna, and and Krishna was accepting in such a way that he even burned his finger, right? So based on one's capability, one's devotion will be expressed. So devotion is not a very and when we talk of bhakti, that's why Prabhupada translates bhakti as devotional service, because devotion is not something very hidden in the heart and no one can understand. Devotion is expressed by one's service attitude, right? Devotion is not a very secret thing. One can see the devotion, by how he serves, how he serves the instructions. So we'll come to that point. So let us little bit enter into this pastime. So Krishna, when he took this rice, he felt that I have taken, uh, such an important food item, so much I have taken, devotion I have taken, I have eaten this devotion, that he felt completely obliged, and he started to think that how should I reciprocate, and 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 he was feeling to reciprocate with Sudama Now this reciprocation of Sudama, how he reciprocated is a very deep subject matter. What he did, you know, is a very important thing. You know. So 2 points which are hidden in this pastime, you know, which is but revealed directly by Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam directly reveals it, and acharyas explain it very nicely. So one thing is that Krishna is feeling so much obliged by the devotion of Sudama that he just don't want to offer anything in the front, right? So that is the point number one. You know, he is feeling that even if I offer entire wealth or entire Dwarka also to Sudama, right? Even that is nothing compared to what I have received. This is how Krishna feels obliged, and this is how much he values devotion, right? He just feels that this is what is the use of even offering this much? This is also so less. You know. And that's why Krishna says, Na pare ham. When it comes to bhakti, devotion, then Krishna just can't repay. He is so much sold out, you know, with all as well. So that's why it is explained that that's why Krishna couldn't give anything to Sudama directly in the front, because he just felt, what can I give? And that's why, you know, he thought that let me give some small insignificant offering of making his home into a palace as good as Dwarka, right? And give him all that opulence from background, you know, from backside. So in the night, he called Vishkarma and he told Vishkarma that just to do this whole work of converting his palace, you know, and make palace as beautiful as Dwarka and make all this opulence come. So everything happened overnight and very silently, you know, so that because Krishna was feeling ashamed to reciprocate for Sudama's love. So this is Krishna's heart, how much he values devotion, right? You know. And second thing is even more subtle, that how Krishna was thinking to help Sudama, to give him a special mercy, and that is also revealed in the further purports, you know, right? So Krishna was actually Krishna wants, when he wants to help, he's very personal to the devotees. He knows what is the exact need to be addressed. So Krishna's value system, that's why we need to understand. Then we can understand, then we can be ecstatic and happy in all the things happening around us. Krishna values devotion, and that's why Krishna want to see my devotee, you know, becoming completely purified of all any tinges of any attachments, anything, you know, which he may possess. And we find that Sudama Brahmana possessed uh, all wonderful qualities of devotion, but there was one thing he felt. Uh, I think the Acharya explains little proud, you know, of his renunciation. Right? He felt that just see, I can live without anything. You know, I don't have to even beg. I can be fully detached. I don't need anything. You know. So Krishna knows that this is also an obstacle, you know, for a devotee. That he is thinking that I can live in a renounced order of life. I can renounce anything and everything. So then Krishna can purify even that. You know, Krishna makes arrangement in a life of a devotee that even that can be purified, you know, by giving certain kind of thing which may be considered obstacle. For Sudama Brahmana, he was not at all wanting wealth, but Krishna gave him, and that's why in the previous verse, which all of us must have read, that yeah, in the previous verse and purport, we find that as Sudama came back, first of all, Sudama was feeling very happy and very humbled that it is very nice Krishna didn't give me anything. So wonderful. You know, Krishna knows that I will become unnecessarily proud and puffed up, and I will misuse this wealth. So Krishna didn't give me. Wonderful, wonderful. You know. And then as he came back, he saw this whole palace. You know, he thought that what is this which has come? He saw this palace, and then he said the same place. You know, then he was confused, and then it says, as he continued to ponder in this way, the beautiful men and maid servants, as effulgent as demigods, came forward to greet their greatly fortunate master with loud song and instrumental music. And the purport of previous purport, it is explained that as explained by Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti, the word Pratyagrahan, they acknowledge and turn, indicates that the first Sudama accepted the servants within his mind, deciding, my Lord must want me to have them. So now this is called devotee. He surrendered. Okay, this is what my Lord want. Okay, let me accept. And in response to the visible change in his attitude, they approached him as their master. So Sudama was not interested in this, but as soon as he felt that this is what Krishna wants, let me take. So immediately he became freed of even that attachment. Right? That okay, let me do whatever Krishna want. Right? So this is actually a devotee. Uh, so this is how the devotee accepts Krishna's mercy, and this is how Krishna may give mercy. I was hearing in one lecture that Krishna gave mercy, equal mercy to Sudama and Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was a king of the three worlds, Trilokeshwar actually, and Vaman Dev came, and Vaman Dev was feeling that now this Bali has become attached, thinking that I have become. Bali is a devotee, his grandfather is Prahlad, naturally is a wonderful devotee, but now he has become attached, thinking that I am the proprietor of these three planetary systems, So now let me help him. So then Krishna helped Bali Maharaj by taking away everything and in that way purifying him. And Krishna helped Sudama in giving everything, in that way purifying. Right? So that's why when we understand Krishna's value system, how Krishna works, then in our life, whether Krishna is taking away or whether Krishna is giving, in both cases we'll be ecstatic. Right? Sama Sukha Dukha. So many times Krishna speaks this in Bhagavad Gita. And this is the attitude of a devotee. This is what Krishna speaks again and again in Bhagavad Gita at this point, that how a devotee who is equipoised in happiness and distress, he is very dear to me. But what is that equipoised? Only when we understand the value system of Krishna, then we are grateful to Krishna in both the place. Right? So Krishna is interested in our heart, in our devotion, and he creates wonderful arrangements to attract us. And why he values bhakti? If you try to, even we can little bit enter into this. Why he values bhakti? Because this can help us understand what we need to do in our life. Krishna values bhakti because bhakti is property of Srimati Radharani, and 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 Srimati Radharani is Alladani Shakti, which Alladani Shakti means the Shakti which gives Krishna pleasure. So only Krishna receives pleasure only from Srimati Radharani, no, and from nowhere else. So anywhere Krishna sees that part and parcel of Srimati Radharani, that is bhakti. Every bhakti is coming from her. So then Krishna becomes conquered like that. And hence we can understand that this is an important point for a sadhaka to understand very clearly that okay, now Krishna values bhakti, but this bhakti is not something I can generate. Right? Krishna values bhakti not because it is something to be ourselves working on it. And that is the meaning of spiritual life. Spiritual life, everything is about the grace. It's anything which is we are able to do ourselves. That means again it is part of material world only. So bhakti is all about grace. It's a whole path of grace. That means as soon as we understand this is the value system of Krishna and this can't be achieved by my own self, immediately a devotee understands the desperate need of blessings of devotees. Because this bhakti comes from Srimati Radharani in disciplic succession. Right? So only in Guru Parampara one can receive bhakti. One can't generate it, by one's own endeavors. Right? It is only received. The mercy is only received. It is not achieved, it is awarded. So many times you have heard this. So we receive bhakti in Guru Parampara from pure devotees. And that's why the devotee's value system becomes, seeing Krishna's value system, the devotee's value system becomes that how can I receive these blessings? How can I receive this bhakti? Which is hidden in the heart of devotees. And hence a devotee wants to only please Krishna and please the devotees. Right? That is the value system of a devotee. To be servant of the servant of the servant. How can I please devotees? Because that's where I get this bhakti, and that's what is going to please Krishna. Right? You know. So whether we chant Hare Krishna, whether we study books, whether we uh, whatever we are doing, unless that is done with bhakti bhavana, Krishna is not interested, right? And that bhakti bhavana is received only by uh, serving devotees, right? So devotee values only Krishna's pleasure, and devotee values purification of the heart, you know, so that he can offer that pleases Krishna. Right? We can see that here now today's verse. Let's focus now devotees value system. When we can see today's verse also. So we can see that the wife of Sudama Brahmana. Uh, so whenever we see these personalities in Bhagavatam, we can see what is that value, what they are valuing, and that can make us introspective of what we should value, right? When we read Srila Prabhupada's purport, it should challenge our value system. What Prabhupada is valuing, because if my goal is to please Srila Prabhupada, then I have to understand what Prabhupada values, and if this is what Prabhupada values, do I value it in a similar way, right? So this is how our Shravanam can be really very, very effective if we are always seeing the value system behind, and those value system really challenges our value systems, right? Right? Maybe I value comfort, I value peaceful life, but we find Brajvasis, their life is not peaceful. Their life is not comfortable, right? you know so their value system is Krishna's pleasure, right? Although they may have to sacrifice so much, right? You find Srila Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada's value system is how he can please as a spiritual master. Prabhupada is always talking about taking the instructions of spiritual master as one's life and soul. So when we understand, and then and that's why if we read Prabhupada's purport, it just pushes us out of comfort zone properly. If we properly read, which challenges our value system, it can push us out. Because Prabhupada, we find, Prabhupada is so very clear that the only way of success is satisfaction of spiritual master, and my spiritual master has ordered me to preach all over the world in English language. So so Prabhupada is giving that same instruction, and that please help me, please help me, please help me to distribute this message, right? Yesterday I was reading Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Ramananda Rai, and we find Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although a sannyasi, he embraced Ramananda Rai, you know, uh, who was from the social point of view, he was a Shudra because he was worker, he was working. Anyone who's working means he's Shudra. He's working in the government job. Doing government job is a Shudra, actually. So so that's how he is considered a Shudra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embracing him, actually publicly, practically. All these Brahmanas are watching and they're astonished. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport explains this point, very, very deeply, that this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining by doing this, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the do not value the externals, the birth, but the devotion. Because Ramananda is a devotee, that's why he is. It doesn't matter from where he has taken birth. And next, then there's one Brahmana who offers invitation in his house, one Vedic Brahmana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that he is a devotee, and that's why he accepted. And Prabhupada immediately writes a nice purport. Prabhupada says, so we should accept invitation only of the follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even if one is a Vedic Brahmana, very, very pure Brahmana, still that doesn't qualify us to accept the invitation, especially in this age of Kali, where things are so very degraded. So point is that, so value system is that, okay, who is the follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Right? And we find in the similar way, I was reading another the chapter before that, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is beginning his South India tour and preaching. And there it is explained. So one pastime we hear about deliverance of Vasudeva Vipra. You know. So he delivered Vasudeva Vipra. And there's Vasudeva the leper, you know, who was suffering from leprosy. And he embraced, and we find there also the value system of the devotee, right? That how the devotee is not valuing that how I am getting cured of the leprosy. He is valuing that I should not become proud, right? And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know, he gives a solution. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there that that okay, you are fearful of becoming proud. What do? You just constantly chant Hare Krishna, and then second thing he says, and in that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says you constantly chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada don't write any purport. Next verse Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, and you should preach Krishna consciousness to others. And immediately Srila Prabhupada writes an interesting purport. Prabhupada says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cured Vasudev leper, and as soon as he cured him, immediately he instructed him to preach. And Prabhupada makes the point that in the similar way, each and every one of us should understand that how we were, you know, also going through so many difficult times, and now by mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have been cured, right? We have been cured of our sinful life, right? And hence, and now we have become obliged by becoming cured. So how to repay for this obligation? So in this verse, Prabhupada says, in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling how you can repay. Immediately, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to preach Krishna consciousness, right? That how you repay? By chanting Hare Krishna and by preaching Krishna consciousness. In that way, Srila Prabhupada makes it very clear that what he values. He values devotees to be seriously, sincerely engaged in missionary activities, right? And here we are finding, you know, in a similar way, this the wife of Sudama Brahmana. She is not confused, you know, that what has happened. She is very clear, right? We are seeing that you know, that in the purport it is explained by Vishnu Thakur that night before Sudama's poor emaciated wife had been sleeping in rags under a crumbling roof. But when she woke up in the morning, she found herself and her house wonderfully changed. You know, so she didn't thought, oh, so nice, wonderful. Let me enjoy the opulence. You know, right? You know, and she was not confused also. You know, she was only for a moment she was confused at what happened, but immediately within a moment she understood that what has happened. That Krishna has given this, and she was not even bewildered in the sense of let me enjoy this opulence. She just felt, okay, Krishna has given this. Now let me try to, you know, welcome my husband, and together we'll use it for service of the Lord. So it's like a devotee is not bewildered, you know, right, because of his clear value system. So we have to work sincerely on seeing what we value, and then when we read scriptures, we have to see what Krishna is valuing, and then we can see whether our value systems are matching, whether it's fitting. Krishna values this, and I am working hard to cultivate this. Krishna is valuing devotion, that means a devotee works hard to cultivate that devotion. How can I get that bhakti? Where I can get bhakti? You know, and that's why the Shravanam, you know, about such pastimes makes a devotee very eager for bhakti. That laulyam, that greed, that I want bhakti, that starts developing, and that is the only cost, as we were hearing also that day. That this is a verse Ramanand Rai speaks, and we also read from Rupa Goswami this verse that 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 Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati, you know, kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. Yadi, if anywhere you are getting this Krishna bhakti, immediately purchase it. You know, because you know, laulyam api ekalam mulyam janma koti sukriti na labhyate. Because that's why a devotee is not interested in sukriti, because janma koti sukriti na labhyate. A devotee wants to be eager for this bhakti. This bhakti is something which can't be achieved by our sukriti. It comes only from a devotee. And that's why it's saying, kahin mil raha hai means Somewhere you find a pure devotee, purchase it, get it from him. Do whatever it takes. And what is the price? The price is our eagerness. So let us, and to summarize, let us absorb ourselves in properly studying, hearing the scriptures, understanding the value system of Krishna and his dear devotees, which can challenge our value system. And the value system of Krishna in all the pastimes is how he values devotion. And when that is the only thing valued, immediately a devotee can become more and more intensely eager for this devotion. And in that way, his value system becomes how can I get bhakti? And in that way, he wants to serve the devotees because bhakti is given through devotees. This is Krishna's procedure. Bhakti sanjayate bhakti. Krishna's method is he don't want to give bhakti directly. He gives bhakti only through devotees. Right? And that's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts initiation from Ishwar Puri. Then only he exhibits bhakti. Before that, he don't exhibit bhakti. So this is the principle very strong. So in that way, a devotee's value system is how can I serve the devotees? This mood of humble servant of the servant is inculcated very deeply by this kind of proper shravanam and proper kirtanam. Thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।